Good afternoon to one and all for 3 days national level EFDP ESTP at IQAC Sir Dr. MS Gosavi College of Pharmaceutical Education and Research, Nasik. Now this is day 1 session 2 and we have with us for this session Dr. Prashant Murumkar sir. He is currently working as an assistant professor at Pharmacy at Faculty of Pharmacy and Deputy Director Office of Alumni Affairs at Maharaja Sayajirao University, Baroda. Dr. Prashant sir is a recipient of highly prestigious international ICMR Young Indian Biomedical Scientist Award for the year of 2016-17. As a part of this award, Dr. Prashant sir worked as a visiting scientist at Karolinska Institute Division of Translational Alzheimer Neurobiology at Sweden. In addition to receiving a national doctoral fellowship during his doctoral work, he was awarded multiple Young Scientist Travel grant from number of different government agencies, including Department of Science and Technology, then CSIR and ICMR, felicitating the presentation of his research work at international conference held at USA in year of 2008, 2009 and 2013. Dr. Prashant sir was additionally a visiting research scholar at University of Utah, USA in 2009, where he worked with research group of Professor Tan N. Trong as active member of research team. Prashant sir has more than 50 international research publications with more than 1550 citation having H index 22. Dr. Prashant sir has a 3 book and 10 book chapter on his credit. 8 Indian patents have been filed and out of that 4 have been granted for the research work related to the steroidal moieties used in treatment of breast cancer, development of 5-HT2C agonist and development of CB1 receptor antagonist as anti-obesity agent. I heartily welcome you, sir. Sir is going to deliver his talk on how to write and publish research article. Over to Dr. Murumkar, sir.
Kamlesh sir, thank you very much for such a nice introduction. Principal of Principal of this college, Dr. S.V. Amrutkar, Dr. Prashant, coordinator of this program, all the teaching faculty members, and dear participants. Good afternoon, one and all. At the outset, I would like to thank the management of Gokhale Education Societies, Sir Dr. MS Gosavi College of Pharmaceutical Education and Research. And I'm also thankful to Dr. S.V. Amrutkar, a principal of this college, as well as Dr. Prashant, who is a coordinator of this FDP. The topic which I'm going to talk with you for another 45 minutes would be how to write and publish a research article. Since it has been informed to me that there are some PG students are there, some PhD students are there, as well as some faculty members are also there who are attending this FTP. So that's why I will try to talk not as much at advanced level, but I will try to advise certain things which would be some of the things which are from my own experience also. I will try to advise to the beginners that how we can consider, what factors we can consider, what should be the criteria to consider while writing the research article as well as while selecting the article. So basically, the talk would be divided into 2 points, main points. One would be how we can proceed for writing a research article. And once the content is clearly defined, then how to select the right journal and how to publish it. That point we will cover for another 40-45 minutes, right? I hope everybody is able to see my screen. Uh, in fact, you must have came across different books, but one of the book I'm displaying here is Robin Sharma's The Monk Who Sold His Ferrari. Actually, this book talks about fulfilling your dreams and reaching your destiny. And it is clearly, the message is clear that you need to master your mind. And the secret of happiness is simple, that we need to find out what truly we love to do, and then only we can direct all our energy towards doing it. So once we do this, the energy flow will direct into your life, and all your desires are filled with ace and grace. Now, what is our aim? Our aim is that we wish to publish our research article. That is the ultimate aim, right? Because everybody who is contributing to the science, actually, there will be two aspects. One would be whether you are trying to publish your research work, which we have carried out at UG level, but less chances are there at UG level, because that clarity is not there. But definitely at PG level, whatever work you are doing, that you wish to publish into a good journal, and definitely as well, as a part of your PhD work, you wish to publish in a good journal, whatever content is there, right? So first message is that you need to first dream, that you need to dream that you are one of the author, you are one of the co-author of one of the journal article, where you are writing whatever output of your project work is there. Then only it is possible that the flow will start. So first thing, most important, I would suggest that you need to imagine yourself that you are contributing author, you are a corresponding author, or you are a first author of a research paper, and that too for your own research work, whatever you have done. So if you start doing that, then only it is possible that you will be able to publish your work. So the clear content of the scientific writing is very, very important, that we need to communicate the new scientific findings. Why? Because people around the world, they should understand that what the new finding is there. So definitely language should be so simple to understand what you have identified, what new things you have contributed to the science, and that you are writing in a scientific way. So what is the first point? First point is that directly you are not supposed to start writing any article. Before that, if at all you have finished your research work, or you are on the verge of completion of your research work, you need to, first important thing is that you need to find out that what are the important journals which comes in your own domain. Let it be a pharmaceutics, it would be a pharmacognosy, it would be a pharmaceutical sciences, it can be a pharmacology or pharmaceutical chemistry. You should know at least 5 most high valued journals. And then what you should do, you should try to find out is, if at all there is any a particular parallel research work that has been carried out and that has been published in that journal. You need to read that article continuously. Once you have understood that, you again try to read the another article which must be similar to that article. So first important thing is that read. You need to understand that how that content has been elaborated in a nice manner in this journal, whatever journal you are considering. So first important task is that you need to identify 5 different journals from your own domain, then find out at least 5 research articles which are coming or trying to or quite close to your research work, and then you need to write it. So once you are doing that, then what you can do, that you need to first, whatever content you have finished, this must be recorded in your notebook, right? And you need to follow this formula, which is nothing but IMRAD. So in the MRAD, actually you will find that you are trying to compose the things in such a nice manner, where you will be writing some introduction part, then you will be writing some method, you will be writing the results part, and then finally you will discuss this outcome. So this AMRAD is nothing but introduction. So basically what question was studied, that means what you are trying to propose in this research work which you are trying to write it. So you need to write about the introduction part. Then next comes is the method, that what was the problem you studied, and then what were the findings, and then discussion that what do these finding means, then how to correlate that, what would be the outcome, that part would be. So simplest part would be that this introduction, method, result, and discussion, one by one we will start. So before starting to write the paper, as I told you that you should have all material available with you. You need to record all your results, and these results, I will come to that, that how these results can be actually conveyed in a simple manner. You need to summarize all the recordings, all the files of the results, and any other observation. It could be that this observation cannot be that much significant, but still you need to have this material with you. And then all the once you are doing all this, keeping all these recorded files with you, then you need to revise your reading. You may need to repeat an experiment while you still have the material with you. So first, most important thing, as I told you, that you are trying to read the material from those who have already published. From that, you will come to that how simply they have mentioned all the material methods, then they have written the result and discussion part. But once you are proposing your own material, you should be sure about it, that whether this material which I am proposing, or whether this experimental procedure which I am proposing here is there repetitive, we can get the reproducibility of the results or not. You should make sure about these things, and then you can start writing your own idea. The first important part is nothing but you need to segregate the content in a concise manner, where you will be talking about the title. Next is abstract. Second would be the introduction part. Then third would be material. Fourth would be methods, and then there would be results. And in some journals, actually, they will ask you to write down about the discussion, and then summary of the finding is also there. Then finally, acknowledgement part, and then there is a reference part. So these are the essential part of the scientific paper or research paper, where you will have to deal with all these subtitles one by one. Now, coming to the another the detailed discussion about that, in what manner we can put the title, because you will find that there are some titles which are too general, and actually these are not giving any meaning. So this type of titles, if you are keep proposing for your research article, then I don't think that this article would be accepted by everybody. Now, ultimate aim is that not only to publish your article, but actually people should read this research work, and they should cite your paper. That is also ultimate aim of each and every researcher. That is how we talk about the citation part. So the title should be catchy. Yes, everybody talks about it, that it should be catchy, but definitely it should not be that much general. So there will be in the title, there will be a fewest possible words that adequately describe the content of the paper. So most important thing is that whatever content of the paper is there, you are supposed to actually mention in one line. And with this title only, most of the readers of this journal, they should actually attract towards your paper, that they should create this interest by reading the title, that yes, I need to go in detail what is written in the paper. So this title will be read by thousands of the people, whereas few will read the entire paper. So title is much more important. And even by using the title only, you will find that this title is concise. Then the indexing and abstracting of the papers will also depends on the accuracy of the title. If there is some wrong things in that, then it cannot be actually picked up for the indexing as well as abstracting. That's why it is a much more important part. And it should be concise, specific, and informative. It should capture the fundamental nature of the experiments and findings. That is important part. Otherwise, what will happen, that you are talking about the title and the title is not reflecting the meaning of the content of the paper, then this would be a useless exercise. And just like title, abstract is also one of the important aspects of the paper. But I would suggest that once you are completing your paper, then only you should write the abstract. Don't consider writing the abstract after just initial of writing your paper. So while writing the abstract, it is very much important that you must have finished all the writing of your paper, and then you are trying to write in a concise manner. It should not be more than 250 words. Actually, this depends on general to general. Actually, some may ask you 250 words, some may ask you 200 words, or some may ask 300 words, but it should not be more than 250 words. And again, there should not be a paragraph, but actually abstract should be one in one paragraph. There should not be multiple paragraphs. Single paragraph, single actual paragraph abstract should be there. And again, you need to take care that it is written in the past tense, that it refers to the work done, because already you have finished your work. What you need to highlight here, that you need to use past tense while writing the abstract. Again, some of the papers I have seen that without they don't have that much of knowledge, that even in the abstract they are citing the references also. So generally, in rarest of the rarest case, you will find that in the abstract there will be a references which has been cited there, but it is not required at all. So you should not cite any references in the abstract. And again, it should never give any information on conclusion that is not stated in the paper. Sometimes this happens that you are not discuss anything about the paper in the paper, but you are writing in the abstract. It is not the way to write the abstract. So while writing the abstract, you should keep in mind that one paragraph, single paragraph should be there. It should not be more than 250 words, and it should be written in the past tense, because we are trying to refer the work which has already been done. You should not write any, you should not cite any reference for that. And that much of content which is there in the paper, that should reflect in the abstract. Again, we will talk about that how to write down the introduction part. Now again, while writing the introduction part, there are some researchers, they mix up the things. Here you need to do proper literature survey about the topic which you are actually highlighting here. Now what was you studied, that you should give the answer here in the introduction part. Because what happens generally, whatever topic you are talking about, and this topic is relevant or not, that is not considered, but you are talking about irrelevant material in the introduction part and then coming to your topic. It should not happen. So you should be giving the answer for the following question, that what was I studying, what was this, why was this an important question. Because generally, while writing your paper, you are trying to solve the question which you have raised during your research work. That is what you are trying to put here. So why was this an important question, that why I have chosen this topic, as well as what was the question, why this question is relevant today, and why it is important, that you need to answer the question, that why was this an important question. Then what did I know about this topic before I did this study. Actually, you are not the first, because see, you are not doing some breakthrough research. There could be some background for that your research. That means that there must be a literature which is available. So you need to read, you need to cite this literature, and then you need to talk about that topic, that what did I know about this topic before I did this study. That part is important to cover in the introduction part. And then finally, in the introduction section also, you need to talk about what approach you have actually accepted as well as used while writing this paper, or while doing this research work. So what approach did I take in this study? This question you need to answer here in the introduction part. So basically in the introduction, what was you were studying, then what was this an important question, what did I know about this topic before I did this study. That means literature review is important there, and then what approach you have used, that part has to be there in the introduction part also, right? So in nutshell, actually this introduction part can be covered with a, it should present the nature and scope of the problem which has been investigated, and again whatever latest literature is available for that material that has, so you need to review the pertinent literature related to the topic. Then you should state the method of investigation, that what method I have applied while trying to solve the problem, that should you should mention there. And you should mention the principal results of the investigation also in short. And then you should state the principal conclusion or suggested by the results which has been the output, so in a small paragraph there this would be a part of the introduction part. So there are some unwritten rules actually, which as you won't find that while writing the introduction, you must have come across that you are using the present tense when you are referring to the work that has already been published. That means if you are talking about somebody else's work that who has done in previously, you should present that this is the work which has been written, which has been done, and that you are trying to present here. So always use present tense while referring to work that has already been published. But you need to use past tense whenever you are talking about your own study. That means whenever you are referring about your own study, that time you are supposed to use past tense there. So this is much more important thing which you need to consider. And use the active voice as much as possible. Don't use passive voice. So always use active voice while writing. Then you are not here to explain everything. So try to avoid lengthy as well as unfocused reviews of the previous research. You can just simply mention that about this topic, so and so it has already reported this work. And in detail, the reader can see the particular article, but there is no need that you are duplicating the same thing here in the introduction part, and as you are mentioning that this is not my work but this is somebody else, and then you are again discussing the lengthy discussion is there. It is not required at all. If any conclusion is there, that part you can mention there, which is relevant to our topic, then only you can mention that part. Otherwise, just mention that so and so it has reported this study, and those who are interested, they can refer that article. So it is even not required to mention that part, but only simply you can cite that. Then you are supposed to cite peer-reviewed scientific literature or scholarly reviews there, whatever things are already reported. There is no need to give the citation or the reference works, particularly for the textbook, because generally you must have seen that in the textbook, whatever the concepts are already proven, that part is there, and actually we are talking about latest information. That's why always try to give as a supporting information by referring to scientific literature from the peer-reviewed journals as well as review article. That is, so you need to consider these rules, that always use present tense while referring to somebody else's work. Always use past tense when you are referring to your own work. Try to use active voice only. Don't use some lengthy, unfocused reviews of previous work. Don't write much more about that, and only try to cite the paper which are published in the scientific journals. Now, after introduction, the most important part, not most important, but it is also a mandatory part, which comes is nothing but material and method. Now, the main aim of this article writing is that by reading your own work, people should get motivated to read your material as well as to understand whatever output of your research work is there. But again, there should be a clear information that other researchers should repeat this experiment and they should get the similar type of results. So that means there should be a repetitive the results what you are reporting. There should be experiments which can be repeatedly done and you can get the similar type of results. That's why actually you are supposed to clearly mention that what type of material you have used and what method you have mentioned, what method you have applied for carrying out your research work. That's why this two part is important, that you should clearly discuss about the clarity about the use of the material and the clarity about how you have carried out the process. So it should be able to provide the full details so that the experiments are reproducible. That is the important part. Majority of time you will find that there are certain papers where if you follow a certain process, it is not reproducible. That means there must be a problem. So that's why you should be clearly mentioning that what type of experimental method you have used and what are the steps, how you have used. That part has to be clearly defined there. If the peer reviewer has a doubts that the experiments could be repeated, the manuscript will be rejected. That means uh, if there is a duplication of the part is there 100% that you have used the similar methods, right? Because see, if you are talking about the novelty that you have used some other methods, then there will be a chances that there could be a chances that this part, if you are taken from somebody else as it is and there is no change at all, then there will be a chance that the reviewer may reject the project, the research article. So then you need to actually sub-segregate certain by giving subheadings about the material methods with related methods which are you have described there, like subjects, experimental design, the measurement of the activity, or whatever assay you have carried out. You can just sub categorize it under the heading called as methods, and then you can describe the experimental design in detail. You are not supposed to discuss about the results in this section. So what is expected here? It is expected that whatever material you have used to carry out the experiment, and then whatever methods you have followed, you just clearly define it. How much quantity you have taken, that also you can clearly mention here in this section. But you are not expected to discuss the outcome of the method or results in this section. And again, whatever I have mentioned to you, that since you are talking about your own result, or you are talking about own work, that means you should write that I have carried out in this manner. That means you should use past tense while writing this matter, because this is your own work. You are not quoting somebody else. If you are quoting somebody else's work, then you need to use the present tense. Otherwise, you are supposed to write here past tense, right? Now there will be a case that you are completely utilizing the method which is totally new. So in that case, it is very much important that you should precisely define the clear procedure, because it is not duplication. Partly it is not duplication of somebody else method, but it is clearly a novel method. That's why you should use all the details, and you should clearly define all the details whatever method you have used. And then there could be cases that if method has been previously published, the part of the method is already reported in some of the journals. Then what you can do, you can consider that journals as a reference journal, and then you can write down that this method has been taken by and adopted as it is, and then you are supposed to cite the reference there. So here again, it is not expected that you are repeating same method. There is no need. So what you can write down that this method was followed as per the reported procedure by so and so et al, and the detail is given in that paper, right? That's it. It is not expected that you are again repeating the same procedure which has been reported in that paper, right? If at all there is some slight change, it should be clearly mentioned, right? Then again, the heart of the paper is result, that result and discussion, that is the important part. So again, as I told you that this is your own work, that's why you are writing your own results. That's what should be written in the past tense, and it should be clearly and simply stated that since it constitutes the new knowledge contributed to the world, and that is important. Otherwise, suppose this type of same results are there in somebody else's work, you are not supposed to write this paper, because this is a research paper. That means whatever output is there, whatever method you have used, that gives the results, and that is clearly uh, that this has not been reported elsewhere in the world. You are the first to report, or this is the new method of new results, whatever you are discussing. That's why it should be clearly mentioned, because this constitutes the new knowledge which is contributed to the world. Now, what is the purpose of this section result? You are supposed to summarize and illustrate the finding in an orderly and logical sequence without interpretation. Don't interpret here. Whatever results are there, you need to propose here. Whatever results are there as it is, you need to write here. You are not supposed to interpret in this section particularly. We will check in the latter section that where interpretation part can be done here. The only thing is that whatever results are there, output is there as it is, you can write here. And then the text should guide the reader through the finding, tracing the major points. Whatever major output is there, that should be highlighted here. Do not describe method that have already been described in the material and method section, that have been inadvertently omitted. Actually, you need to consider that part, that this is distinctly dedicated section where you are talking about the outcome of the results, and that is what you are actually mentioning. Now, there are different ways to write this outcome, how to present the data, how to present your results. Because if you write all in a textual manner, almost 5 to 10 pages, nobody's interested to that. So that's why the result part can be converted into a simple format. Nowadays, people actually like to see only figures as well as tabular form. Nobody's interested to read the text completely. So that's why actually there are three things which you can do it, that you can present directly in the form of text. But generally people are not actually accepting this type of content, because there will be a monotonous thing, or there will be a boring thing. That's why try to avoid that part. But in some cases there is no alternative, that time you need to write down the directly in the text. Then another is that you can convert data into a tabular format. If it is possible to write down the results, that this is the compounds or this is the formulation and what is the result, you can write in front of that. That is possible in the form of table. Again, whatever results are there, you can convert these results into a figure also. So in figure as well as in table, you can convert this data. So again, generally what happens that we are writing the table as well as figure, but we are not referring to the text. So it is again important thing that all figure and tables must be accompanied by the textual presentation of the key finding. So you should write that whether it is you are talking about table number 1, whether you are talking about figure number 1, or whether you are talking about figure number 5. And in the text part you should code that figure, that I'm talking about figure number 5, and then accordingly this would be done, right? Never have a table or figure that is not mentioned in the text, right? So if it is not mentioned in the in the text, and you are mentioning the table as a figure, that part is not to be considered there. Then tables are appropriate for large as well as complicated data sets that would be difficult to explain clearly. As I mentioned you that if you're writing too much in the textual format, then it is difficult to understand also. So better for a simplification purpose, what you can do, you can convert this text part into a tabular format. Then figures are appropriate for data sets that exhibit trends, pattern, or relationship that are best to convert visually. So actually, this is more acceptable. That visually, if it is simple, and then there is a repetitive pattern is there, there is a particular trend is observed there, or relationship is there, then you can convert this data into a figure format. Again, table as well as figure must be sufficiently described by its title and caption, because most of the time this happens that you are giving a table but there is no caption. So it is not acceptable. Actually, every time even journal will write you that you need to mention the caption here for a particular table as well as figure. So caption or legend is important. And again, it should not be, you should not discuss everything in the caption or title. It should be self-explanatory. That there should be small text, and then it should be able to give the information without reading the main text of the result section. So that's why again this legend part is important. Do not include both table and figure showing the same information. Otherwise, what will happen? There will be a duplication of the method, duplication of the information will be there. So don't do that. Don't include both table as well as figures in the same information, right? Then after giving the results, most important part will be the discussion, because in the results, as I told you, that you are not supposed to discuss anything. Whatever output is there, that output you need to refer to the tabular format or figure format. That means you are writing as it is the content there, but in the discussion, and this is actually your own where you can write related to your output of your results, and this is considered to be one of the hardest section to write. So what is the purpose of writing a discussion? Actually, the main purpose is to show the relationship among observed facts. So what you have observed, what is the output, and once this output is there any correlation, is there any actually trend which is observed there, and that actually you need to discuss here in detail. And that is what the aim of the discussion part is there. It should end with the short summary or the conclusion regarding the significance of the work. And it is important that if you are discussing all the output of your research work, then you should write some summary also in the paragraph, where you can have a conclusion. The summary as well as conclusion will be a gist of your outcome of your research work. That is how actually there could be a, you can even, there would be some unconventional or some unsettled points are observed there, and that also you can discuss in your discussion part. You are supposed to point out any exception which you have observed or any lack of correlation, and there are certain points which are unsettled points that also you can discuss here. Now again, another important thing is that you should show how your results and interpretations agree or contrast with the previously published work. That is important part. Like suppose because already in the introduction section you must have talked about the already published work, or you must have cited some of the papers there. Now whether the outcome is in correlation with that, or there is some contrary results which are, there could be some contrary results, but definitely you should actually clearly mention here in the result interpretation part that whether you the interpretation agree or contrast with the previously published work. Again, another important thing is discuss the theoretical implications of your work, because there will be application part of your work where it can be applied. That part also can be, so there will be some theoretical implications would be there, as well as some practical applications would be there, and that part also, that where in which case actually this research outcome can be applied, that part can be clearly mentioned here. As far as theoretical implication is there, as well as practical implication, both you should be able to clearly mention that. Then state your conclusion as clearly as possible. There should not be a repetitive words, there should not be a conclusion which would be a bias, but there should be a clear cut conclusion which is actually output of your, and then you can summarize your evidence of each conclusion with few lines that can be done. Then there are certain sections where actually it is up to the up to the writer actually where to what to write, particularly the acknowledgement section. Now in some of the cases you will find that you have taken the effort help from some other researchers in the form of some chemicals, or you must have get some technical help from other researchers, and this researcher is not a co-author. In that case you should actually state or should acknowledge his help. So what type of things you can acknowledge? You can acknowledge any significant technical help that you have received from any individual in your lab, or even it is possible that from elsewhere you have taken technical help. You can acknowledge that person clearly. The source of special equipment, from where actually you have taken this equipment, culture or any other material you have taken, that also you can acknowledge that the person so and so the lab so and so has provided me this special equipment, culture or any other material. Then another important aspect, that most of the researchers, they are getting grants, they are getting some fellowships, they are getting some financial assistance for carrying out the research work. So this is the section where you can acknowledge that any outside financial assistance, grants, or even if it is industry sponsored project, or if it is you are getting some fellowship to carry out your work, research work, that you should acknowledge. Again, in general, see, it is again up to the writer, but it is considered in general. You should not write that I wish to thank. Directly, you can write out simply. You can write I thank so and so person, and don't write that I wish to thank, right? Because this should be short and clearly the message has to be there. Then another thing is that the references part. The last, which is important, that whatever work you have cited, you have given, or whatever references there, that references should be actually written in a standardized format. Now there will be a different standard formats are there nowadays. Latestly what has happened, that you keep your own standard, that is also accepted initially, that you should maintain the uniformity while writing the references throughout the your article. It is accepted at the initial level. Once article is accepted, then the journal may ask you that you need to follow the reference format as per their journal's guideline. So there are certain guidelines which has been provided. So most of the publications actually, they are having their own guidelines, like American Chemical Society, ACS, they are having their own guideline. You will find that elsewhere they are having their own guideline. But in general, you will find that they will follow the Harvard style alphabet number system style or citation order system. They will follow the Harvard style. Actually, the name and year system is the most widely used. So that's how actually that's why actually I told you that there are certain rules and regulation. Initially, they are actually not that much stringent, but they are liberal. Once the article is getting accepted, then they will ask you to actually convert the references into a particular format. There will be alphabet number system, modification of name and year system. Then there is another citation order system is there. So as per it is best actually what you can do. You take a published journal from the same article from the same journal, and see that how the way they have written the references. You should follow that. Most important is that you should refer the latest one. Suppose 2013 23 is there, whatever published article is there in the 2023. So how they have referred journal, how they have referred the patent, how they have referred the book, how they have referred the book chapter, that is clearly defined on their journals instruction for the authors, and you just accept it, and then as per that format you need to convert the references. That is how actually it can be done. So this is the first part. Now, once you have decided that I need to publish a research article, I was actually what I have given the emphasis that you should visualize these things. That I need to publish in American Chemical Society journal. I should be a first author. I should be the corresponding author. You should imagine this part, and then what will happen actually, as I told you, that you start reading the articles from that, and then the message will be clearly conveyed in the same manner. Where actually, because by reading the same type of material, you will come to know that what I need to put in my article. Again, question is that there are thousands of journals are available there. The question is where to publish. There will be a confusing state of mind. And again, what will happen that, see, ultimate aim is that you need to publish in such a journal where there is a more wider reader for that journal is there. That most of the people are reading that journal. Then only it is possible, right? Because ultimate aim is to get more citation for your paper also. So that means if you are choosing such a journal where more acceptable reader is there, then only what will happen, there will be more circulation, more people will read it and they will cite your research article. So that's why if you are publishing your research article in local journal, what will happen, there is no readers for that journal, and then there won't be any citation. So that's why where to publish, this is the question, and we will try to find out that how to find out the proper journal, what should be the format. The question is where to start. As I told you that thousands of journals are there. So today more than 40,000 journals are there, from different publishers and disciplines, from different disciplines. So from which publisher actually we need to consider the journal, from which discipline, that we can consider, but from which publisher, that is the major consider. Now to add to that, you will find that nowadays a lot of people, they're asking money for that. So there is a open access journal, they will ask you that you pay $1,000 for that. And then, but again, there is a peer review system is there. All the journals, they are following peer review system, but they are asking you to pay. Now why they are asking to pay? Because there are two formats which are generally accepted right now. One, that first is nothing but subscription type of journal, that the library would subscribe your journal and then it is made available to the researcher or the students. The another aspect, that it is open to everybody. So who is paying for that? The researchers, they are paying for that. Again, there are certain there are certain actually financial, the funding is provided by the government. Different governments, they are giving the publication charges. Then only it is possible. Otherwise, for standard journal, the cost to publish in an open access journal is costing more than 80 to 90,000 rupees. It is more than 1 lakh rupees also. So who will afford that? For that, actually, there is a separate funding is there. There are certain open access journals who are really excellent. They are having high impact factor, and that can be considered. So you need to know that whether are you capable to spend this much amount. Do I have any funding for that? Or you need to consider the subscribed journal. If you are considering subscribed journal, then again more than 40,000 journal, from where out of 40,000, which journal we need to consider. So again, there are certain rules and regulations which we need to follow. So there are certain publishers which are there. The American Chemical Society, as I mentioned to you, and there is Elsevier, and there is a Springer, there is a Ville, Taylor and Francis. All these actually top four largest publishing houses are there. More than 35% of all journals they are publishing. So you can consider either of these, either Elsevier, Springer, Ville, Taylor and Francis, or American Chemical Society's publication house. You can consider while initial screen. So there are almost 5,000 scientific journal publishers are available, and out of that, I'm telling you, these four more popular publishers are there. 5 publishers I'm telling to you. Then 30,000 peer-reviewed scholarly journals are there. More than almost 25 lakh articles are published per year, and you will find that how many new authors are contributed. The almost unique authors in a year would be more than 40 lakh. Can you imagine? So this is how actually the publication is going on. So the question is where to start, from where to choose. That is the question. So there are certain tools which can be used to identify the journal. So out of this more than 40,000 academic journals, the number is increasing, but there are some predatory journals are there, some bogus journals are also there. So how to avoid this type of journal, that is important, because publishers are increasing and they are demanding you, because I have seen that number of people, they're asking you to pay 2,500 rupees, 3,000 rupees as a publication charges, but they are bogus journals actually. So how you should not be victim of this journal. So how to think, how to decide the journal, that is the important part. So you need to think before submitting to a journal, particular journal. So what are the things you should know? That first important, there are certain checkpoints are there, that who are our colleagues from the same field where they are publishing. So do you know, or your colleagues know, that journal which you are considering to publish? Can you easily contact the publisher? Because there are certain publisher where you don't find any contact number, they will ask you to pay, so you should not consider that. So whether the contact is easily accessible, is the journal's peer review system is there, because they will clearly mention that this is peer review system, it process clearly mentioned on the website. There are certain people who are claiming that you pay the charges and the next day they will publish the article. That means there must be a problem. So you should not consider that type of journal. Are the article published in the journal indexed in well-known database or services used? So whatever journals are there, they are actually indexed in a standard databases. Whether we will talk about the databases also, whether this journals is getting indexed, then only it is possible that. Otherwise, what will happen? The journal is open access. You are paying the money, and that this journal is not getting indexed in any standard known databases. It is useless exercise. Again, does the journal charges any fees? Does it mention details about the fees? There are certain processing fees. I told you that there are open access journals who are charging heavily, but they are asking you that who is the funder for that, whether government funding is available, because individual researcher cannot actually pay this much of amounts. So that's why, whether it is open access or subscription journal, if subscription journal is there, you do not need to pay a single rupees for that. If it is open access, in that case, so whether it is openly, clearly mentioned on the website or not, that is you need to consider. Do you recognize the editorial board members of the journal? Because the editorial members are actually very, very renowned person in their own field. You can just cross-verify their name, and again to check the biodata also, whether the editorial board is having a scientific background, whether they have published some good number of publications. So that means you need to cross-verify that part also, that whether the editorial board is having a scientific background in a particular area or not. If it is not, then I think that you should not consider that. Then whether it is a part of a well-known publishing industry initiative like COPE, then DOAJ, this type of actually industry initiatives are there. And if you answer, if only answer is yes for this question, then only you can go ahead. So what is the criteria to consider while selecting the most important criteria which generally everybody is using is impact factor. Higher the impact factor, the better would be the quality of the content of the journal. So that's why you should know that in your particular domain, which one is having highest impact factor journal. At least 5 to 10 journals you should know, more than 10 impact factor, more than 7 impact factor, more than 5 impact factor, more than 3, more than 2, more than 1 impact factor. This type of section you should have, and then you should consider, depending on the kind of work you have carried out, accordingly you should select. So then publication type, whether it is a subscription, whether it is open access, that is also depending also that. So there are certain journals who are only carrying out the publication related to a review article. Their impact factor is too high, but in that case, actual research article won't be published. So you should know that what type of publication they're carrying out. Again, there are certain journals who are actually publishing their articles once in a year. So it will be too long, twice in a year, 4 times in a year. So this type of frequency is clearly defined there, whether it is quarterly journal is there, monthly journal is there, or whether it is tri-monthly journal is there, or whether it is publishing 6 monthly or it is yearly. That is also important, because depending on that also, the time duration to publish your article will be considered there. So time from the acceptance to publication. Nowadays, what is happened, you will find that on the journal actually homepage, they will clearly mention that decide the acceptance or rejected, they will take 3 weeks, 4 weeks. Previously, once you submit the article, actually the reviewers or the editor do not send this article for the reviewing purpose for 1 to 2 months. But nowadays there is too much competition. That's why they will clearly mention that whether the article will be accepted or rejected, the decision will be given within 1 week, within 2 weeks, within 15 days, or within 1 month. So accept time from for the acceptance. For the acceptance also they will explain, and once it is accepted, how much time it will take. I will tell you, there is one publisher, I don't want to give the name. They will accept the paper, although it is quality journal. They are having good impact factor, but they will take almost 1 year to publish. I think this is not the journal is not encourageable. Why? Because what happens, they will actually combine all these articles. They will ask you first to improve your quality of figure. They will ask you to charge. Then again they will ask you to improve your English also. There are this type of comments are always there, that your English is poor. So you can, if there is a standard journal, they will help you to improve that part also. Your editor will help you. But there are certain journals, they will ask you that you refer this and this agency, you pay this much of $500 or $100, we will improve it. There is no need to do that. What you can do, you can take the help from, if you are in a university, then you can contact your English department also to improve the English language. If there is a grammatical mistake, that also you can take care, right? But there is no need to pay the money for that purpose, that the journal may ask you to improve the quality of the figure. You can do it on your own also, but for that they will ask you. So that's why actually they take almost 1 year to publish, right? Then you need to know the rejection rate. What is the rejection rate? If there is 100% acceptance rate, then definitely impact factor won't be there. So rejection rate, how much? Then what is the publication charge? What is the aim and scope of that journal? Who is the reader of that journal? What is the readership of that? And whether it is index journal, in which database this journal is getting indexed, that is also considered. Whether it is open access or not, that also you need to consider. And then identify the interest of your journal editor. That is also whether editor is from the same field, like you are working on a TB area, the editor is from the same, whether they are interested in a TB like work or not, that also you need to consider. So there are different factors while choosing the right journal for publication. First important, aim and scope of the journal, journal's impact factor, indexing of the journal, peer reviewed journals, publishing time, acceptance rate, reach of the journal, whether it is really accepted everywhere. Check the journal for any publication similar to your research article. Check for the journal's restrictions, and then beware of the predatory publishers. Right? Now, as I told you that there are certain bogus publishers are there. You need to know about that also, about predatory publishing. Predatory journals, there are different names for that. Some may call it a fake journal. There will be questionable journals, illegitimate journals, deceptive journals, dark journals, and operating in a bad faith. So all these different type of predatory journals are there. So journal title which can be easily confused with, you will find that the similar most popular journal is there. They will come up with the similar type of slight change will be there. So there will be a journal title which will be confusing to the most important or another important journal, that might mislead to the potential authors, editors about the journal's origin, scope, or association. And if you try to contact the journal, you won't find any contact details there. So that's why you can find out easily that whether it is a predatory journal or not. Generally, this type of publisher, what they do, predatory publishing journal, they will put wide scope. That means you come from any field, they will accept this. So if it is this type of journal they are offering you, then you should not consider. Then they will display unofficial impact factor. They will give the impact factor like 5.6, and they will put the star mark there. The star mark might be something else, right? So they display unofficial impact factor. How they have calculated, they don't know. They have not. It has not been mentioned there. They will false claim of being indexed in major services like PubMed or DOAJ. So if this type of data service, if you database, if you go and check, you will find that the journal is not available. That means they are falsely claiming. You won't find the publisher address. They won't actually give you the address for the contact information. There is no who is the owner of the journal. That ownership is not clearly mentioned there. Then there would be a spams researcher with many emails inviting submission. They will write you that you submit your journal article in our journal, often unrelated to expertise. Also, they will ask you. So these are nothing but some of the points where you should be alert. They will advertise very fast, like they will ask you that you pay, and next week the journal will be able to publish your article. So if this type of claim is there, you should not go ahead with that. Then it publishes out of scope articles also, then poor or non-existing editing of the articles is there. So as it is, you can copy and paste, and they will accept it and they will publish it. There is no correction at all. So poor, non-existing editing system, they don't have any editing system, and they will hide the information on charges. Once it is, they will tell you lastly that you need to pay this much of charges as a processing. So this is about, so there are certain checklists also there. So as I mentioned you, this is nothing but summary of that: contact information, scope of the journal, and then editorial board, author fee policy. All these already we have. There is no distraction. So now we will see that what are the different tools which can be used to identify the proper journal. So there is a one list is there which is prepared by the Bellas list, which will actually identify the potential predatory journals and publishers. They will publish that these are the actual journals, or these are the publishers who are actually publishing these predatory journals. They will potential predatory scholarly open access journals. They will. So you can search here in the Bellas list, bellaslist.net. You can just check, and you will find out whether the journal is there in the predatory list or not. You can easily identify. So what you should consider? You should consider journals ranking indices. SJR journals ranking indices is there, which is given by the SciMago journal ranking, which is given by the Scopus journal. Then for Thomas Reuter, actually they are giving the impact factor. So highest impact factor you should know, and you can cross verify by going to the Thomas Reuter the website and then find out whether the journal is having the same claims impact factor is there or not. Then stride score is there, then S score, ITEL index. There are different indices are there which can be considered. So you will find that this is the SJR which is indicated here for this is the H index which is indicated for that, and what is the total citation for that journal that is indicated here. So you can see the journals ranking on the basis of SJR, H index, and the total citation. It is easily you can find out by using SJR, right? Then this is nothing but the list of impact factor which is there. So Thomas Reuters actually they are actually publishing this every year impact factor for that, and you can easily identify that what is the impact factor of particular journal and what is the high impact factor journals. So this cancer journal for clinicians is having more than 500 impact factor. Then there is a you need to identify the scope also, that what is the scope, where the scope is clearly defined for that for while selecting the journal. So you will find that this is time to first decision. It is important, which I was referring to. That see 2.6. There are certain journals they don't respond to you for months. So you should not submit to that journal because you will be waiting for it will kill your interest. So time to first decision is also important. Is clearly mentioned on that, right? Even time to first decision as well acceptance. This is mentioned here. Accepted. It is received on 27 October 2006. Within 2 months, this has been accepted, and this is published in January 2017. This is clear. So even this statistic will help you to decide that which journal we can go ahead with. Then again, you should decide the domain, that in which domain I need to consider, whether it is a non-index journal, it is paid, it is unpaid journal. Then in the index journal, there will be a scopus where you will find some unpaid, paid, as well as open access journals, subscription journals will be there. That also you can decide. Now there are certain open access publishing models are there. They are also quite good. There are actually it is defined as a green open access. Then another is called as gold open access. The green open access means that some form of the paper will be made freely available after publication through the repository, like PubMed or all these things. Whatever open access is there. In most of the cases, the copyright will be written by the publisher. But as far as gold open access is there, it means that the final form of the paper will be made freely available upon publication. 100% open access will be there, and the author will be the owner. The copyrights will be with the author. So that's what it's called as gold open access. And green open access, science is not open access journals, right? So you will find that there are certain PLOS, well-known open access publisher are PLOS, that they are actually quite reputed. Biomed Central is there, both of which publishes a variety of open access journal with a high impact factor, but the fees is too high. So there are certain good open access journals are also there. Then the journal with the greatest impact factor is probably the best choice, as I told you that. Then the first, you should ensure that the journal you intend to publish, your work is covered by the major bibliographic databases such as Medline is there, Web of Science is there. So all these, whether it is getting covered or not, that is important. But this is NIH Library of Medicine. You will find that whether it is getting in the data set or database of this NIH, the journal is getting covered or not. And Web of Science is another where you can actually search as well as browse the journals index in the Web of Science. Whether the journal is coming getting site the databases is in the Web of Science or not, that also you can check. You can search here also, Web of Science, right? Then there is another tool which is freely available for everybody. I would like to recommend that this is called as Edance is there. This is called as Innovative Science Solution from Edance, which will help you to select the proper journals. What you can do, whatever abstract you have prepared, you just copy and paste it here. So this will actually try to find out which would be the probable journal which is suitable for this type of work. Only what you need to do, either you can copy paste the keywords as well as abstract and just click on the search button. It will recommend you that this is the proper journal in the proper domain where you can consider this journal. So this is Edance you can consider. So while using this Edance, what are the different points you should consider? You should either put some title, field of study, preferred publisher, and you can actually there will be a certain criteria which you can select there. Field of study, whether journal is indexed or not, you can click on that, and then you can match your criteria and publishing goal to journal features, right? So there are certain publishers, they are also having their own tools which is developed, because elsewhere they are having number of journals from elsewhere with high impact factor also. So you can use this journal finder.elsewhere.com. Journal finder, you can just go to that website, journalfinder.elsewhere.com, and write your title, or you can put your abstract, you can put your keywords, and then it will suggest you certain articles, right? For journals published by Springer, uh, you can go to the journal suggester.springer.me. So journal finder is from elsewhere, and Springer is actually, they are giving you journal suggester. They will suggest you the proper journal. So journal suggester.springer.com, you can consider that. And there is a, as I told you, that journal finder, this is how the elsewhere's the journal finder looks like, where you can put the title, you can go ahead with the abstract keyword, and then you can find out the field of the research, and then you can find out. So different tools which are given, like I have explained to you, journal elsewhere, then Relay is also having there, then think, check, and submit. This is the SJ finder is there. So all the advanced journal selector is there. EndNote manuscript matcher is also there. So all these are nothing but some of the tools which you can consider, right? So best finding tools, as I told you, that there are some almost 5 to 10 tools are there. Advanced journal selector is there. Elsewhere journal finder is there. EndNote manuscript matcher is there. IEEE publisher publication recommender is there. And you can consider journal guide. Then there is a publish or flourish OA is there. And SJ finder is there. Then journal author name estimator is given by the PubMed. It is there. Then Springer journal is also having. Then you can think, check, and think dot check dot submit. This is also there. And then Village Journal Finder is there. So almost 5 to 10 tools are available where you can find out the journals. So this is how to choose the right journal for publication, given by the Web of Science group, right? This is how the actually journal finder looks, as I already mentioned. Springer journal, then Village, the journal finder beta, which is mentioned there. So in summary, actually, what is important? What are the different criteria for journal selection? You can consider the ranking as well as recognition. Then you can consider the publishing time. Then there is acceptance rate, content requirement, access and fees, and scope and publishing history is there. So with this, I hope that you must have got some information about the research article, how to actually prepare the research article, and how to select the proper journal. What are the different tools which can be considered while selecting the journal of your own domain, and that too, it is not a predatory journal or false journal or fake journal. So with this, I would like to thank you very much for the listening quite calmly. Almost this is one. I think next is question and answer. So please let me know. Do you have any question? So there are questions from Prakash Muleva, that what are other means to publish or research other than journals? See, the important aspect is that once your study is completed, you can present your research work in various conferences, like it is in national or international uh, conferences are there, where you can present as a part of poster, or you can present as a talk also. Now, the condition is that this work should not be published in any journal. This is the important thing. Before publication, if you are going for the presentation, if you are going for the oral presentation, it's okay. Once you are doing oral presentation or publication, that part can be considered in the journal. Again, another important thing is that even before presenting your research work in a poster, as an oral presentation in national as well as international conferences or in a journal, what you can do, if it is really novel, it is having innovative ideas, and then you are the first to report that, then you should publish in the form of patent. So you should file a patent. Go Once the publication is filed, you can get the patent number, and then you can go for the presentation as well as go for the oral presentation as well as go for the publication. But before, if you are really interested for filing a patent, don't go for presentation as well as oral presentation as well as journal, but go for the patent filing. Once patent number is there, then you can do it. So that there is a priority date is also there, that you can, suppose you have not finished your work, and you wish to actually protect your work in the form of patent, 1 year time span is there. So what you can do, you can just file the patent with a short summary, and there is no large description completely covered, but at the end of the within 1 year you can completely disclose the results there, and then you can go ahead with the, once patent number is there, you can go ahead with the publication. Any other question is there? Then there is one question from Dr. Sumaya Das, that what are the factors to be considered while choosing the right journal for the publication? As I told you, that most important thing is that in your own area, find out who is the most popular researcher, and that researcher, where actually this researcher is publishing the journal, in which journal. Once the journal is finally done, then you should again try to arrange it on the basis of impact factor. Once you are arranging on the impact factor, then you can find out that what is the actually readability, or what is the scope of that journal, whether it is covering my the same my area of research or not, that you can consider. So there are certain factors which can be considered. There are open access journal, as I told you that, but you need to have a funding for that, because otherwise you are not it is not possible to it is not possible to afford the publication charges for that, because it is more than 30, 40, 50,000 also, more than 1 lakh rupees also for good journal, right? So, Dr. Sumaya Das, I think your query is covered. Any other question is there? Do you have any other question? Yes, Kamlesh sir.
Okay. Thank you very much, sir, for sharing your valuable knowledge. Sir, highlight many stages of research publication, steps of writing research paper, body of research paper like title, introduction, material method, acknowledgement, and references. Sir also mentioned some important unwritten rules, method of presenting data, and selection of journal, and the tools used for the selection of journal. Sir, please accept this certificate as a token of love. On behalf of Gokhale Education Society, Sir Dr. M.S.
Thank you.
Goswami, College of Pharmaceutical Education and Research, I, Kamlesh Dandagawar, express my deep, heartfelt thank you to you, sir. Now, this session 2 is over. Session 3 will be continue from 2 p.m. Thank you very much, sir.
Okay, thank you. Thank you very much.